Everyone and their grandmother has been making an X types of motorcycle riders you will meet ever since Yaminu made that one video a while back. So I thought, why not make one of my own videos and make it Singaporean? And when I mean make it Singaporean, I really mean make jokes as racist and sexist and whateverist as we can get. Let's go! Here are the 8 special types of motorcycle riders you will meet in Singapore. In the 80s and 90s, during the heyday of two-strokers and the Motor Siao, those were the days when you could walk down the road and hear motorcycles ramming in rhythm, and when you turn your head, a bunch of Chinese dudes in gaudy helmets and equally vomit-inducing fashion sense on gorgeous TZR 125s, TZM 150s, and NSR 150s. Fast forward to the modern era, and things haven't really changed much. The Motor Siao, both the old birds and fresh recruits, fastidiously continue to clutch onto their ever-aging hand-me-down jing, because 2 strokes for life, baby. And their fashion sense is still about as cringe as ever. While most can barely string an intelligible sentence and their English vocabulary is limited to fuck, alongside a beautiful plethora of Mandarin and Hokkien expletives, you still can't help but be in awe of their eloquent salesmanship when you inevitably get ripped off into buying their overpriced, disease-ridden SP and a refurbished iPhone, so they can finally afford that upgrade to a Yamaha R1 for the monthly dick swinging contest at Pasir Gudang, or Sembawang Road if they are feeling cheapskate enough. The Mat Rempit is usually a young Malay male, often seen riding a beat-up Kawasaki KRR 150 or a TZM 150, and roaming the city in groups at night to obviously avoid being picked off by some hantu as they search for their next corner to relax in. Many once dreamed to be fighter pilots in the Air Force as young boys, but probably eventually settled for the sweet earth as they grew up, because in sky there is no corner to relax in for more than 2 hours, which will probably kill the Mat Rempit. While not exactly as violent and aggressive to the point of engaging in robbery as their Malaysian counterparts, nevertheless the Singaporean Mat Rempit is just about as mentally unhinged, going a million over the speed limit on a 300-pound ticking time bomb strapped underneath their crotches. Between smoking 10 packs of gudang garam every day and racing to the next fishing or soccer horn, many Mat Rempit are also masters of elegant and fulfilling performing arts, like performing stunts on their bikes, including the Superman, the Scorpion Man, and the IP Man. The Indian fan. No, not the brand of motorcycles. We're not even talking about the native people the Americans like to pass off as Indian in their football teams. No, we are talking Pakalu Papito level Indian here, man. He's often seen on an Indian brand like the Bajaj Pulsar. Hell, you probably will only see him on an Indian brand: Pulsar 200 NS, Pulsar 200 RS, Pulsar 180, Pulsar 150 NS, Pulsar. Appa, I just got my 2B license. I'm looking to buy a naked bike. Can I get a CB190R? Dey ni motor payan. Why buy Chinese bike? Get Indian. Pulsar 200. Good. Best bike. Apache ATR lah. Tuk-tuk. Bajaj also have. The Indian fan is to Bajaj and Indian brands pretty much like how American bikers are to Harley Davidsons, just with a lot less dealing drugs and running guns, and maybe a lot more beer and liquor drinking. Despite the popularity of insane Bollywood stunts, the Indian is surprisingly calm, almost zen-like. If you had the choice between taking a ride on a cow to work or your Indian friend's brand new Suzuki Gixxer, pick the cow please. From scooter aunties to femme fatales on Ducatis, the female rider is the enigmatic species of the Singaporean motorcycling world. Rarer than a unicorn that shits rainbows out of its ass, this majestic, mystical creature commands so much awe and admiration that it provides an instant bonus 50 horsepower to any motorcycle ridden by a heterosexual man within eyeshot. Typically a bipolar species when it comes to choice of rides. If it's not a cute Vespa or Piaggio Primavera, it's probably a CBR 1000RR and a whole load of Suzuki Bergmans in between. Despite being able to remotely turn a 125 rider into the 12 o'clock boy, the female rider slash driver is still the object of chauvinism, much to the dismay of some.
Sit there.
Hey, you know how to handle this car? This is a man's car, you know.
The expat. When we say the expat, we really mean white people. Ironically, they aren't the most white when they are riding motorcycles on our lovely sunshiny island. If they aren't a whole gamut of colors like the Power Ranger squad, they are invariably more red like big lobsters in flower pattern shorts and t-shirts. Typically found riding expensive big boy bikes like the KTM 1290 Duke or a Harley Davidson lowrider to overpriced maxi scooters like the Yamaha T-Max, all on their hefty 5-figure a month paychecks, courtesy of the government. Despite their relative rarity in Singapore, the expat rider is the creme de la creme of customers to motorcycle dealerships as well as local purveyors of cheap second-hand exotic bikes, buying fat bobs, RS1200 GSs and more during their stay here before emergency ejecting their shiny acquisitions when it's time to head back home. If you don't know what a psychotic with rabies looks like on a motorcycle, look again. We have our role model in the Malaysian. A distant cousin to the Singaporean driver stereotype, they are probably most famous for being voted for the most likely to die young award every single quarterly LTA general meeting. Typically rides J-plated cheap-ass underbones like the Yamaha Spark, Honda Wave, Yamaha Sniper, and occasionally a stolen 400cc sport bike like the Honda CBR 400RR. Hard as asphalt with a death wish. Don't try to get on their good side, they don't have any. If there is any reason why Malaysia frequently has riders appearing in Moto2 and Moto3 while Singapore has nothing but a bag of sticks to shake at, is their no-nonsense dedication to breaking every single conceivable rule of safety on the roads. Fearless, unpredictable, brain damaged. Reaching the late 40s and 50s of your lifespan really gives many people a lot of time to think about what the fuck happened with their lives and wishing they had actually fucked that hot chick they met at some rave disco 30 years ago instead of being mommy's good boy. Unfortunately, you can't turn the clock back, and some things are impossible when you are as virile as a noodle and clutching your pacemaker. Fortunately, while the fortune the midlife crisis dad has saved for his retirement can't exactly buy happiness, it still can buy him some excitement. Typically can be seen sipping his favorite cuppa while staring at his gorgeous brand spanking new, low miles and unblemished BMW R1200 GS or Honda Africa Twin or maybe even a Triumph Tiger before he heads back to work on a Honda Vezel so that he can make sure his kid finishes college. You can't help but feel a pinch of sadness knowing that this may eventually be what you'll become. Or maybe not, because you're a struggling millennial who can't even pay off the loan on your beat-up 15-year-old RXZ. Something of a new breed in Singapore, the Hipster has been making quite the rounds in the motorcycling community in recent years. Clad in vintage and Salvation Army bought clothing while sipping their organic, GMO-free, gluten-free, vegan, artisanal, alkaline cashew nut milk with dates and pandan leaf, the Hipster is often seen riding a Vespa scooter or a cafe racer converted from a classic UJM, like a CX500, from a boutique workshop of course, raising money in Singapore's distinguished gentleman's ride while simultaneously being responsible for the jobs of hundreds of mechanics and fashion designers island-wide would never be a thing without the Hipster. Not that it's hard to do on daddy's credit card. I have to admit that many of them really do have an eye for aesthetics with their branded TW200s or Tracker Triumph Bonvilles. But seriously, if a Hipster offers to sell you his 20 grand one-of-a-kind artwork, you might want to reconsider unless you've got deep pockets to restore them to legal condition. So, if you enjoyed this video, do give me a thumbs up, a like, and of course, share this video with your friends. And if you want to watch more videos from me in the future, do click that subscribe button below, and I'll see you next time.